And then you bozo showed up. And man, are we glad to see your faces. Or PFPs, I guess.
Good morning. Good morning. Hope everyone's having a great early morning. Hero, get up on here.
Having a very fun winter morning. Wow. Ostora is already in the house. Wow, Epoch is here. What? What's going on? This can't be right. Is this Epoch's daughter? Who has Epoch's phone?
Beep, 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 beep.
Just a bunch of cats over here.
Oh man. Good morning, Epoch.
Good
How's the
morning.
snow?
Not, no snow today.
Oh, good.
Yeah, luckily.
Good, good, good. I just cleared out all the junk I had in my garage so I can put the car in. That snow caught me by surprise yesterday.
Yeah, I'm very happy I finished putting up lights like the day before it started snowing.
That light was legit. You guys should mint it on the blockchain.
Right. I think I have to put more lights now. Now I'm addicted.
It's a slippery slope. I actually watched that happen to my neighbor. Um, every Christmas and the month, lights just increase.
Yeah, I'm like, $500 away from like Christmas music speakers, synchronized
Christmas
lights.
music
You know,
speakers. Oh my God!
like how hard can it be?
There's also the one where it will broadcast locally, so if you're driving by, you can switch the station.
Oh yeah, my own my own antenna. That would be phenomenal.
Oh, that was the cheesiest thing I've seen in a long time. It
That's
cracked
not a
me
bad
up.
idea. I think I'm in. I can charge for that, right?
Oh, you could charge for the radio waves? Yeah, sure. I'm sure you
No,
could
for
put a.
for the prime seating. I'll save the two spots in front of my house, like chalk them off and put $10.
Oh,
It's the VIP section, comes with hot cocoa and a cookie.
Exactly. CookThyme's there.
oh man, this sounds like great tokenomics. You can even have a burn mechanism. Oh man, that's so fun. I used to have a
It'll be
radio
limited mint too because
limited mint.
9 p.m. we're wrapping it up.
That would be fun though. We should do that at some point. Not this year. We're not gonna go all out this year.
Ooh. Since we're on the of Christmas decorations, I saw a TikTok where this guy was like, "Oh my gosh, the price of bulbs are so expensive." And he literally went and got these like weird LED lights, but then 3D printed like bulb covers for them. And he was like, "And I saved so much money, and they're so bright, and they're so much better."
Wow.
So
How much did he pay for
it
the 3D printer?
right. First buy of 3D print.
There's actually a Cardano project that's trying to make 3D printer a printer sharing thing. Um, what is it called? Catalyst has sunk quite a bit of money into it. Um, I hope it goes GA soon. Let's see.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
3D
cool.
print.
Like a Fab Lab. Is that what they call them?
Well, what they're trying to do is, well, this buddy of yours that now has a 3D printer, if he wanted to, the idea is he could go onto this platform that Catalyst funded, and he can offer his services. He can, put his printer model in, put what kind of materials he can work with, and then the system will use that to fulfill orders when it gets an order that matches his situation. Um, and then he gets money from that. That's the idea. Um, and Let's see. Yeah. So Uber of 3D printing from our friend Kyle Solomon. We have put, let's see, I think we've funded that twice now. But the last funding, the last big one was in Fund 9. Wait, no, not Fund 9. Fund 8. Funded for 275K. Ooh, and they've already received 229 of that. So hopefully they're close to production. Well, there you go, folks. You can print 3D bulb covering on Cardano, presumably. So, Jenny Breeder, you got a new PFP. Good morning.
Good morning. Have you seen, like, I think Hira's having a heart attack? You must want to check your DMs.
Yeah, light
Are you,
do
are
it.
you asking me to talk and read my DM at the same time? Let's see.
Yes.
Let's see. Oh my gosh.
Oh, a little coffee cup in your profile. Let me go look what it is.
Unbelievable. Let me pin the space to the top, and then if everyone can do us a favor and retweet this space, that would be
Yes, you see my
great.
little coffee cup, CookThyme.
Yeah, it has a little, it's like the Cardano over coffee cup, and then it has your little space fed on it. It's so cute.
Yes, I needed a little change, so I made that last night. I said I'm gonna get my little
Hang on,
PFP
hang
ready
on,
for the
folks.
ramp
What is this
crew.
dude talking about? Where's the drafts?
Dude, I don't know. He created a draft. Oh, no, now we're like gonna spend half of the morning here trying to figure this.
Where is the draft, though?
So you go to like you go to the plus sign,
Yeah.
and then on the top where it says like tweet, add status, public, there's gonna be a thing, drafts should be right next to the tweet button. I don't know if you're on your computer or if you're using your phone, but like act like you're gonna make a new tweet with the plus sign.
I did a post. I don't know if it's too complicated. I can always pin up the
Oh,
one that I
okay.
did.
Just like a normal tweet from my profile, right?
Yes,
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 Nate.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't see it in draft, so maybe it's just saved on the iPhone. Is it saved in the Twitter cloud?
It's on the coffee cup account.
I am on a coffee cup account. I'm hosting right now. Yeah, I go to tweet just a normal tweet, hit the plus sign, the tweet button is grayed out, and there's no draft button.
It should be up at the top or somewhere. It should say drafts. It's not really a huge button.
It does not say that.
Hmm.
So maybe it's just stored on the iPhone.
Oh, are you on Android?
No, my point is just stored on a mobile device. It's not stored on Twitter server.
Hmm. I don't know, because I do a lot of like social media managing stuff, and I'll draft a bunch of stuff and schedule them on the computer version of Twitter, and then I can go and like look at them.
But you
Schedule.
schedule them. If they're not scheduled, it's
Well,
different.
I'm on the computer now too, and I don't see your draft on the Coffee Cup account. Can you see it? Because you can, if you have you can on a computer or another device, you can go to the Coffee Cup account. I don't see it.
Well, I pinned up at the top. That's what you guys can share in the meantime. I guess the most important thing is to bring people here. We'll figure this out.
We will figure this out. We are professionals, okay? Like we do this 5 days a week, 2:30 p.m. UTC for 2 hours. We've been running for how many months now? It's more than 15. When was our anniversary? I should know that.
I don't know. That sounds about right. 15 months.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it was on his side, I think, because Hero said he went in and tweeted it. And somehow we're still here in the row.
Nice.
Hey,
Yeah,
morning, everybody. I jumped up because I've been playing with these
Morning.
drafts too,
oh
and
yes,
and
do.
I think if you try to find the draft if you're in a room, it doesn't work, or if you're trying to tag somebody, it doesn't offer you drafts. Try backing out to like the main screen and try a new tweet and see if it shows up.
um well, I think he will say you just sent it, right?
And I just pinned it up at the top.
All right, well I'll retweet it, but that's what I've been finding out. If you're tagging
Thanks
somebody,
for
it doesn't
that.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is so funny. Yeah, I never saw it, but thanks, Hero. Thanks. Copper C Safe, aka Dean.
Yeah. Yeah. Just enjoying the day, you know. Just wanted to
Are you a coffee
link up
man,
with
Dean?
you
I don't
guys.
remember.
I am a coffee man, and I am on my way to coffee right now. I'm out of coffee at home, so I'm walking to my studio to make my
Nice.
coffee. Yeah,
And I
yeah.
guess also, are you a man? Is that what you identify as?
I do identify as a man.
Excellent.
Yeah, and
How do you like your coffee?
black. I like my favorite is a couple shots of espresso, a little
Oh.
splash of water. We call it an Americano, and yeah, that's what I like. Occasionally, a little bit of whipped cream.
Mm-hmm.
Like at holidays, a little bit of whipped cream on top of that. I think that probably has a name too, but I'm not sure what that
It's a
is.
holiday coffee. Holiday coffee.
Have you ever put cinnamon in your coffee, Copper Seed Safe?
I
Nutmeg.
have. Yeah, I have. There's a Cuban drink with cinnamon that's really good too. What they call that? But yeah, it's an espresso with the cinnamon. I like that. Really nice. And tip for people: if you got a Trader Joe's, this Ethiopian beans are really good, and they're a great deal. It's like $10 for a full pound. Not to cut in on the Cardano over coffee, which uh, I need
You
to get
are
myself some of.
you're
Ouch.
in the right department, don't worry. Good morning, Astoria. How you doing? Sorry if I said your name wrong. What coffee you drinking today?
It's fine. It's fine. Good morning, everyone. How everyone is doing? And actually, yeah, it's Ostora. It's Ostora. Yeah, it's like yeah, the name is Arabic, so it's fine.
How are you, Irvix? You say Irvix?
No, actually, I say the name of Ostora is an Arabic name, so
Oh,
fine to
okay.
say whatever you like, actually.
Ostora. Nice. Welcome, welcome, GM people. You are listening to Cardano over coffee with the Wednesday crew. That's me, Lighter Nation, rocking the PFP this AM. Jenny Brito, Tia Jenny, if you're in, and always chilling. CookThyme. Our other hosts are Epoch Pool, Hero Pool, TCT, and BlockJock.
And Nation, don't forget yourself.
Oh right, yes, that guy. We're here Monday to Friday, 2:30 p.m. UTC for 2 hours. We typically have two guests. Today our guests are Astora and Wizard Team Story. Excited, excited. So we'll get to Wizard Team in 15 minutes. Until then, feel free to come up, ask a question, chime in, say GM, GM.
I finally feel like I'm done with Thanksgiving. My last guest left last night, so I'm finally kind of catching up. Is there anything going out there that it's we should be talking about? I'm so lost. I feel like since the summit, we had the summit and we had Thanksgiving here in the US, all kind of like back to back. It's been a little overwhelming with so much going on.
Yeah, I've noticed the engagement's been very, very low. And I know a lot of people that spend all their time on Twitter and they kind of made it their job to kind of stay connected. It's a little rough for them out here these days because there's not like a ton of engagement. So, it's not something to take personally. It's kind of just like, it's just like the way of the road. And everyone's just used to all the dopamine, getting like over 100 likes on a tweet. So they think they're doing something wrong. But, it's winter. It's a little frosty out here. People don't want to tap that like button. Honestly, there's probably just not many people left. Uh,
But there's also of art basel happening right now in Miami. I was supposed to be there, but my entire family was like, "You're crazy." I'm still recovering from COVID. I have this stupid long COVID that left me with a lot of issues. So I still need to let everybody know today I'm not coming down because I canceled last minute. I should have been there by now, but I made a decision to stay home instead. But we have a lot of people from the community there right now. So anybody in Miami, check out Art Basel. It's pretty cool. It's fun.
yeah, I went a few years ago to Art Basel. It's pretty awesome. I mean, there's a lot of free events as well as the main event in the warehouse there. So depending on like what you're looking for, there's going to be something for everyone. There's a lot of like music talent and artists that put on shows as well. And I know in the main strip in Wynwood, they have it's a really big thing. The murals, they have like a mural walk in Wynwood. And actually, one of my homies, he's actually painting a mural in Wynwood, like probably right now, which is sick. I gotta go touch base with him. But the murals are insane. It's a huge event. People get flown in to just like make art on the streets. There's so many like little side satellite events going on. I remember walking through Wynwood and it was really cool because there was like a line of tables and there was a bunch of like writers and they all had typewriters. So when you're walking by, you just hear them like click clacking. And then if you go up to them, they'll just like kind of hand you what they're writing. So it's all these like poems or like short stories, and they're all just like hanging out there. So there's all these really cool installation and like live events to just like get lost in.
Yeah, I was wondering how that was gonna look like this year with FTX was so huge in Miami. So I know a lot of people are asking for a rain check.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. Yeah, that's a rough run there. Yeah, there's so many events. I think there's like a metaverse event. Oh, it's Metaverse Miami. That's like also happening.
Is
Was
that
that art?
happening right now? What are you saying, Cooper Seeds? Copper Seed, I
I
said
was
Cooper
I was
Seed.
going to ask CookThyme about that Art Basel because are they doing that every year now in Miami? Seems like that might have just happened
It's
recently.
been like 15 years. It's been running for like 15 years by now. Yeah, every year.
Oh wow!
It's pretty
Yeah,
cool. They bring like DJs from all over the world to all kinds of arts. And it happens like, I mean, the actual event happens at the convention center in Miami Beach, but then it kind of spreads out around Miami. You have like Cooktown said, the art mass, the Wynwood. It's always full of art. It's an amazing place. But that's all year round too. So you can go to Wynwood and enjoy fun exhibitions all year.
that's a neat neighborhood. I was down there last year and I rented an electric scooter and went up there. Those murals are amazing. They're everywhere. You just like might be a whole block long of offensive graffiti murals. Really worth checking out.
Did you say offensive?
That was offensive?
Oh, I thought you said offensive graffiti murals.
No, no. Oh, yeah. Let me clarify. No, whole fences, like block long
Oh,
fences.
okay.
Yeah,
Fences.
yeah, yeah. No, I don't know. There's graffiti for all different tastes for sure, but that's not what I was
Right.
commenting on. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just thanks for the clarification. Well, this segment of Art Basel is brought to you by Red Evil, coming next August.
Oh, and I think we're gonna have more art as well at Rare Evo. Somebody told me that we're gonna have even more art this time.
Yeah, I think they were about to come up on stage. They might have rugged a little bit, so we still have 10 minutes, so you can try again in a few minutes there. And I know that Wizard Tim came up on the stage as well. How you doing, Wizard? How you doing?
Doing good. Happy to be here. Good to see you all.
He made it. Welcome. Welcome to the stage, Rare Evo.
What's going on, guys? Good morning. Good morning. I hope everybody's got a coffee in hand. We are excited.
I do. I just made mine.
Thank you so much for the shout out. We're so excited for the dates released August 24th through the 26th. So book your tickets and get ready for hotel rooms. That's for sure.
Wow. Did you know that August, one of those days, is when I choose to celebrate my birthday?
Choose, Lido?
Yeah, what is choose? Does that get to happen no matter what date we have an event?
Oh man. Yeah. That's all I will say. That's that. I mean, how much more clear can I be?
Love it.
Well, it kind of sounds like your birthday might be another month, but you want to celebrate it in that month or something.
I really wanted to be a Virgo,
I'm a
but
Virgo.
only on the
My
edge.
birthday's on the 7th of September, so I might mix
Right.
it.
Yeah, I want to be a Virgo, at least like barely be a Virgo. So I picked a date that met those requirements.
Talk about pick the date. When is baby Lido coming to this planet?
Baby, like any day now. Any freaking day. Every time I go dancing, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I gonna have to run back home to go get this baby out? But yeah. Could be today, could be tomorrow.
All these babies. Gonna have all this like Cardano babies coming up. So exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, Lido. Did you ever do that gender reveal? What happened with that?
Didn't
That
he do it when we were doing the governance marathon?
I know. No, that hasn't happened yet. Um,
Oh, it wasn't? I thought you did it then.
No, he advertised it, then he never did.
well, you see, I have to write all the code. I gotta be Vassal compatible. You know, what are people saying these days? What's the latest excuse for not delivering a project? Um, I gotta be Babish. I'm waiting for Babish. Um, so no, it's gonna come. I wanted it to be part of this whole Lido every epoch thing where you go to the site and you like answer one question. If you get it right, you get some tokens or whatever. Those kinds of things. And I was gonna sneak the baby gender review in there. Um, just a random fun question. But it turns out that's a lot of work. So I've been coding crazy. I'm almost done though. I think it should be here by Christmas. That whole
I made a new account. Yay me.
I was like, wait, what's going on?
Yay, hero.
We had Hero hosted like
Sheesh.
on Wednesdays, and now he found a way. Oh, man, you found a
I'm
way
here
in here.
now. Ha ha ha.
Wow.
Aha.
Honestly, so you guys know Santo Pool, right? I don't know how he got mixed up in whatever shady thing he got mixed up in. His account got suspended or deactivated or something. Um, maybe now
Santa?
that yes, a while ago when he had like 3,000 or 4,000 followers and had to start over basically. I don't know if Elon, since he has the general amnesties, if Santa gets that account back now. But he basically had to start over, and that got me thinking, maybe I should just start nursing multiple profiles in
Hey,
case
so
I
that's
get
the
screwed.
strangeness of Twitter now because I don't really think there are any people to manually review these accounts. It's like, hey, the algorithm thinks you're doing something wrong or you said something bad. How do you appeal for that?
Yeah, we have another
Right.
project that this girls that we love, Secret Femmes, I think it's called, or
Yes.
whatever. Yes, and I think their account is also hostage right now. We should probably do something like a little gather some report some of these accounts from the community that have been kept suspended for no reason for a while and try to do a little campaign to free them all.
We
Is
can
there
send a letter to Elon Musk.
Yeah, I think the Elon thing made the whole situation bad for these people because nobody's really reviewing these things, and it's a global problem because they got rid of all the reviewing people, and there's like hundreds of them all over the world.
Yeah, I mean,
So
obviously you should take anything the press says with a grain of salt. But the last report I heard, there's one person left on the team that's reviewing all the stuff. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
Can we
Maybe
get Elon to
I
fact check that?
proposal to get everyone to review for Twitter so that people don't have to worry about their accounts. Go ahead, Brian.
I just need Elon to fact check that there's only one person doing that because I don't believe it.
like, you gotta believe his fact checks.
It's one person and a squad of robots.
I've heard there are roughly 60 people at that company, and it's insane to me because even Facebook has about 50 people just for the security team. So I can even imagine rolling out new features without any penetration testing or anything like that. I can see Twitter having some issues in the future.
What's up, Hosky?
So I have a quick question for Rare Evolution. What happened to the NFTs?
Man, I get asked this in every space. It's so depressing. They're supposed to drop by Friday. Big Pay has everything he needs to do the drop. We love Bloom and Anthony and Pay as people, but hopefully they can accomplish that by the end of the week. If not, we have the list of addresses ourselves and we'll be doing a special drop. I wish I didn't have to answer this question so many times, but I understand why. And it was the one task given to the person because I knew that if they failed, it wouldn't have affected the live event. And here we are. So it's been 2 months and we can't get the NFTs out the door. It's
I just asked Rare Evo last night in Real Talk, so what I did is comment on every single one of Big Pay's videos recently and said, hey, where are the Rare Bloom NFTs?
So are we all going to comment on Big Pay's YouTube videos and tweets? Where are the NFTs? Is that what we're doing now?
That's my strategy.
Deal.
Wow. What did Cardano over coffee just facilitate?
An uprising.
Maybe just hopefully an NFT drop. That's all we want.
That's what we're trying to get right now is an NFT, man.
Well, on that note, you may not be able to get the Rare Bloom NFT, but I bet the Wizard has another NFT you might be interested in. So why don't we give a big round of emojis to the Wizard team over here as Wizard takes the mic. Does Wizards have genders? Yeah, I don't know the pronoun. This Wizard.
This wizard is a very fat man.
Okay. As he takes the mic, welcome, my good sir.
Thanks, Leo. And first off, just congrats on the upcoming baby. I just went through that process just a few short months ago, and I now have a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old, and I am very tired.
Wow.
So good luck to you, sir.
Thanks. I'm making grandma come over for a whole month. And then I'll probably trade in the other grandma, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah,
But
that's smart.
back to
She'll
you.
stay for 2 years. That might help.
And actually, that question that you asked, we asked the same question recently in another space, and we learned that there are female wizards, but they're referred to as either sorcerers, or witch, or enchantress, or something like that. Just not use the same word, but there are female wizards.
Nice. Why don't you introduce the room to who you are and the short version of how you came into Cardano and what you did before Cardano?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, short version is I kind of have a background in technology, just in my day job as a sort of software product manager, and learned about blockchain years ago, and kind of found Cardano and fell in with the community, and just started following along, getting involved in projects, and ultimately wanted to build something of our own. And one of the projects that I had been working on with a friend of mine who's also in the room, who we might want to bring up, which is Joseph Elam Woden down below. We were writing this story about this kind of comical, fat, lazy wizard whose key traits are he's extremely apathetic, lazy, and loves to eat pie. And so we ended up writing this whole book, and then producing it as an audiobook just solely on our own, kind of going through this project just as something that was kind of a passion project for us. And it kind of worked out that I was also in this space and wanted to mint it as an NFT. It was sort of like we saw this community as somebody who was embracing of new projects, especially kind of art-centric projects. And this was something new and something we were excited to do. And so we went down that path. And I don't know if you guys remember, but this is actually my second time on Cardano over coffee. So the first time was when we came on a few months ago, and we announced that we were doing this project. And Hero was the host. He was asking us some questions. And this community was really key in kind of helping us finish it up, where we actually found artists to help us with the project from the space. We found voice actors who were actually able to come on and join us and work on the audiobook with us, which was awesome because that really kind of gave us what we needed to get to a point where we were ultimately able to work with Book.io to be one of the first authors to mint a book on their platform. And on October 24th, we minted the book and we sold out in like 30 minutes. And it was absolutely incredible. And now the next thing that's coming is the audiobook that we produced is going to be airdropped to anybody who holds that Book.io book. And so part of the reason I wanted to come on was just to kind of tell everybody about that, but also just to thank this community for the influence that they had on our project, and also kind of talk about what we're doing next, because we've got some really exciting things that we want to talk about, and sort of what's the next phase of our project and kind of where we're headed. But that's kind of it in a nutshell, and I'll stop there if anybody has any immediate questions.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome to hear. That's wow. That's pretty cool.
I remember the day when the wizard showed up at Cardano over coffee, and he was telling me a story about a fat wizard who was very lazy, and I was very excited, and I still am.
Yeah, that's awesome that you came back and actually you went so far in that amount of time. I think that those are the kind of projects we always remember, right? Like the ones that actually go and get their shit done and come back to report. So good on you all for executing and communicating. I think that's fucking awesome. Well done.
So I want to know what's next. Like, it's awesome. I've watched you kind of succeed, and it's awesome with the Book.io and just what they're doing. Can you tell me a little bit about working with them and how that's been?
Yeah, absolutely. So they were great. They're building out this incredible platform. The way they've kind of gone about just creating their community, creating the technology that sort of works as the sort of encrypted book. So it's not like a public book, but it's something that you have to log into their like portal and access and read. So it creates a sort of protection that incentivizes people to buy these works, right? And I think what they're doing for authors and general content creators is really incredible and amazing and has a ton of potential. Our experience was like unbelievable. It was super simple. We had to sign like this one sort of content creator contract that said we're minting it through them, and there was a little bit of profit share for the process. And ultimately, we kind of they brought us on a Twitter space like the day before the mint. But really, like, we'd done a lot of work on our own to sort of build our own community. We worked with a lot of artists in the space, like people like the art, like Cosmo from Pendulum, and a lot of art, like one artist that came from this show, Slice Keeper, and a bunch of others just from around different projects around Cardano. So them helping promote that also really helped us. And then sort of that in tandem with the community that Book.io had built around just sort of book lovers and people interested in that project kind of, I think, worked really well together to kind of deliver us the success that we ended up seeing in the mint. But overall, it was a really great experience.
I want to ask you, what's the difference? Why work with Book.io and not just publish it on your own and put it out on Amazon and all the other normal ways that authors would do that?
Yeah, great question. So there's a bunch of benefits. The primary one being that it's just like a direct relationship between the author and the readers, right? There's no middleman. There's nobody coming in to like sort of meddle or create some contract, and then you're kind of at the whim of how they market it. So ultimately, you're in control of how you're kind of pushing out your content into the world. So that's one. Two, because we're publishing books as an NFT, authors now have access to receive continued royalties on a secondary book market. And so that's something that, has never existed, even in print, like historically, right? Like if people resell your books or anything like that, the original author doesn't get anything. So there's this sort of like continuous revenue that has a potential to keep coming back to the author, which I think is really appealing there. And then also, I think that there's just this cool thing, with NFTs in the sense that authors have this kind of ability to connect and identify who their readers are and their holders, and sort of do things like additional airdrops or like make new stories available to people who are holding them. It just creates a lot of new ways that you can interact with the community, which is really cool. And so it's bringing a lot of like that original collectability of like limited run print editions, like first editions, collectibles, that kind of concept into the digital book space. But then it also sort of builds on that by creating this awesome community that you can kind of foster and grow because of your ability to kind of like snapshot and identify who's holding your book and who's reading it and that kind of a thing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
What's up, Davis?
Being able to airdrop new content is really interesting because I've been reading the principles for dealing with the New World Order by Ray Dalio, and he has a bunch of website links on his book and an entire website for his book for additional content and information. And that seems like it would be perfect for an NFT airdrop format to get further engaged with your readers. Like his book is huge. It's about 400 pages, and he said, I don't want to make this too long, so I made a website where I provide updates and extra information. So I feel like this would be a really good format for something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. And there's a lot of big authors coming into the space now as a result. Like I think we were the first amateur author to mint with Book.io, and we kind of got lucky to be on that first tier. But since then, they've had like New York Times best-selling authors come on and put out books, and the snowball is really kind of rolling now with that platform. And we're going to see a lot of really incredible content creators come up. And actually, in that vein, one of the next phases and things that we've got going on as a part of our project is we've recently partnered with this incredibly awesome creator who's actually in this room, and I want to bring him up if I can, by the name of Paul Jenkins. So Paul is this sort of prolific, award-winning comic and content writer. He was the writer behind things like Wolverine origin, and he wrote for Marvel for years. He did Spider-Man, Incredible Hulk, The Sentry. He was the writer for these incredible video game franchises like God of War and Twisted Metal. He was on the original team, Ninja Turtles. He's actually, he was kind of following along and helping us with the original project that we put out, and now is coming on to kind of help us in an even better capacity. And kind of in exchange, we're going to keep working with him to kind of onboard him into this community so that he can start putting out some of his own content too. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about was how we're bringing him in and kind of get him up here to kind of talk about his experience and what kind of draws him to this space. Because it's kind of in that same vein of like, why would an author want to work with Book.io? I think he would have a really unique perspective of what makes that appealing, if that's cool.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
Good, Paul. How are you today?
Yeah, good. Thank you. So Wizards dead on. I mean, I've been in the space somewhat anyway for a while. And there's so much potential here and there's so much chaos in the space. It's such a change-making kind of space, And so, actually, there's kind of a funny story about how we were introduced, because of all things, right? We were introduced through your mum, Wizard, which is pretty funny. But I'm sort of, I've been working in this business for a really long time in sort of the creative business. I was actually the second employee of the Ninja Turtles, and as he said, I wrote the origin of Wolverine for Marvel, and I've worked on a number of big console video games, but a lot of the work I've done is in new and emerging technologies. And if you go back like 3 or 4 years, I was speaking at a lot of futurism conventions about like the future of story. And had NFTs been around and more prominent at that point, I think that's probably what we all would have been aiming towards, There's such potential in being able to do sort of digital interactive stuff. There's so many things you can do in terms of storytelling. There's so many ways in which you can engage an audience. I couldn't agree more that, you can go directly to fans, which I've spent my entire career doing because I've worked a lot in comic books, right? So there's a really close relationship between comic book fans and comic book creators. If you're a comic book fan, you can always go to a convention and see a creator. You'll probably be able to interact directly with them online. There's a really, really close community, right? And this community, I got in early doors when the boom started happening. And actually, we were working over in Wax on a project called Bitcoin Origins. I was working with a former head of Disney's Digital Interactive Labs. And when we did Bitcoin Origins, I think we did the first one and it sort of sold out and we were quite excited. And the next one sold out in about 3 minutes. And the third one sold out in about 4 seconds, maybe less. And it was crazy. It just exploded. And we were telling the origin of Bitcoin. We were talking, about like what the origins and potential identity of Satoshi Nakamoto was. And I'm learning this space and I'm like, man, this is fantastic. This is exactly what I've been trying to explain in futurism conventions. The future of story is just, it's the same as it is now. You're just trying to move people's emotions, But what you can do in this space is there's all these things like ownership. There's all these things like a DAO, you can get people to come in and say, we want these elements in a story that you're writing. And if you've got some guile as a storyteller, you can provide some of those parameters, like choose your own adventure kind of stuff. This space is amazing for telling like time travel stories. The technology can sort of change elements of what you're giving people. So, got together with Tim on the stuff, and that they were doing, and it was fantastic. It's like 2 young creators who made their own work, and they've done really good at it. They've worked the community. They've made friends. They've to what you have to do in order to connect to people. So you have to be good at what you do in terms of writing, and you have to be good at connecting to people. And I think this space is very much like the comic space in that regard, is there's a great connection between the audience and the creators. So that's sort of like my background for coming in. But I just want to say, like my company is called Meta Studios, which is weird because we predated Zuckerberg by about 7 years. Fuck him. And and
I can't wait to clip
yeah,
that.
well, it really didn't do us any favors, to be quite honest, because we were Meta Studios, and Meta is an acronym. It stands for Media, Education, Technology, and Advancement. So a lot of the educational side is teaching, obviously, but the advancement was all about advancing the creative community and really kind of drilling in and helping out other creators. Because I'm very lucky, I was the second employee of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and so we were in a tiny office space, and all of a sudden it exploded. And Kevin and Pete, the two creators, they owned the Ninja Turtles full stop. So one of the things that Wizard Tim talked about was that you have direct connection to what your royalties are going to be. You can benefit from your creations in the space because it's right there in front of you. What you get for future sales and so on is right there listed for you. You can see it, and everyone can see it. Now, I'm owed hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars by various companies around the world for royalties on stuff that I've written that have made lots of money for them. And I have to go chase them. I have to go sue them. There's companies, there's a company in Sweden that owes me just a ridiculous amount of money. And when I said, hey, can I have my royalties? They went, listen, we're in Sweden. Good luck with that. And some of the giant companies that we're all reverent towards, Disney and all these companies, they don't send you your royalties. You chase them. So you have to audit them. You have to spend money to get the money that they owe you. And half the time they're going to offer you a settlement. And that has completely changed. The whole paradigm has changed in this space. So there you go. That's sort of a bit on me. If anyone has any questions about what we're doing, then please ask.
I just want to say thank you, first off, for all the work that you did that I've enjoyed over my life that I never knew about, that it was you. So thanks.
Thank you. Well, we got some cool stuff coming up because everybody knows in the new Thunderbolts movie, the Sentry is going to be a main character, and I created the Sentry for Marvel. So that's the one I'm most excited about right now.
That's awesome. So what has your experience been in Cardano? How's that been for you so far, since you've kind of played around in Wax and all that?
Yeah,
I was gonna say that because I did play in Wax a lot too, and it's been a couple years since I used to play in Wax, and I remember feeling a lot before, like, oh man, you could do this in Wax, and the less I play there, the more I forget all the cool little features that you had in Wax that I wished we had here. Tell us a little bit about that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Wax was really my first exposure to the NFT space, right? Because it's sort of like weird at the moment. We're at the end of 2022. We're just going back to sort of like the beginning of the boom, right? That, we didn't know what was going on. I don't think any of us knew what would happen. I think just in a few people were well versed in the space. I can remember Bored Apes showing up and sort of sitting there thinking, man, I'm so busy right now. I don't have time to go and be part of this community. They look really cool. And of course, we all regret it, right? Because we're like, shit, if I'd just been part of that community, I would have bought 5 of them and I'd be doing great, right? So I think if you go back to where Wax was, it was a brilliant platform, but I think you have to take the context, right? That it was also the Wild West. It was like a land rush, right? We were all lining up to go on the Oklahoma land rush and we had no idea. And all of a sudden, they're like wagons roll. And all of us go off and do it. We're running. We're going, what the hell are we doing? We're just like riding into the West with dust flying, and everybody's trying to stake a piece of land. And there's crazy projects coming up. Wax was great because it really promoted at the time it promoted additional utility, and I think that was the the big thing that we all needed. And as we all know, history tells us that the biggest problem we all had was there were so many people that were coming in with the intention of doing a rug pull. There were so many other people that were coming in pretending they were about to have utility, and they had no plan for any utility for any of their audience. And we saw the fallout, of course, because everything suddenly blew up and fell to pieces. And I think that, I'm new to Cardano, but it reminds me in terms of its community connection, in terms of the space that it seems to be. It very much reminds me of those early Wax days when there was such a positive community that was very much behind the creators.
And there are a lot of things you could do there that I don't know. When I think about the new, CIP68, I think about, maybe we can move into that direction. Like there's a reason why all these companies use it for packs, collectibles and things like that. You could lock in liquidity. There are a lot of different functions that are pretty cool that I think will be great to kind of bring back.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, we had this like really weird esoteric utility, and it's not esoteric. It seems that way for people that don't do it. This is where I think, Tim and I really sort of took off together when we talked through what they wanted to do with the Wizard Tim, right? It's that one of the best utilities you can give anybody is story and storytelling. So as I mentioned, I've spoken at a lot of futurism conventions over the last couple of decades. I'm the graybeard in the group, right? I'm an old punk from like the old punk days, and I've sort of seen a lot of stuff, and I've done everything with Marvel. I was at Marvel when they were in bankruptcy and they were going out of business. And I wrote a book called The Inhumans for them that won them an Eisner Award, and they were like, shit, write everything. So I sort of revived Spider-Man and Hulk, but it seems crazy now because I'm sure everyone here is too young to remember. But Marvel were in bankruptcy and they were 10 minutes away from Chapter 7. They were going out of business. And so, I feel like I've sort of seen all of these things, and the one piece that seems like universal is that story is everything. Story's the elements of our day and our week that mean something. If you have a conversation, we're all telling a story right now. We're all living a story because we're inside a story right now. Listening to me, you never met me before. You get an impression. I get an impression of the community. We're all living story constantly. And so with Book.io, what they're doing is they're taking this amazing space and they're taking elements of like ownership, community, all of the things that really, really make something valuable. We don't see value specifically in reading a Charles Dickens novel, but it gives us a feeling. But what really means something is when we can sort of talk and express ourselves and talk to other people about that Charles Dickens novel. And so that's what these communities have done. They've sprung up. I think Cardano seems to be such a healthy one. I'm looking forward to learning more about it. But Book.io is such a cool and amazing space. And I talked to the guys there, and once the Wizard Tim had come out, and there's so many things that can be done in this space. And this is why it's such a shame that all these rug pulls happened and all these people just kind of took the money and ran. We can do interactive stories. We can do stories that change. We can do stories that get people's input. We can do special collectibles that have the input not just of the creator, but also of the person who wants to buy in, who wants to be part of the audience and to buy that collectible. There's so many things that we can choose to do. Tim, I should have you talk about this a little bit. The interactive sort of like story element of it, the audio books, all of these things are things that you can drop later and later. You just keep dropping it to these NFTs.
When I was a child, I used to love those books where you can pick your own story.
Yeah. Choose your own adventure. I was saying a bit earlier, but I'll elaborate on it in a minute. I'm really looking forward to changing, because every industry I've ever been in, I've sort of worked on changing some of the technologies and some of the stuff. I worked a lot in the video game industry, And every time I would write and develop a game, I would want to bring in new ideas about how to express yourself. And that could be done here. Think of a time travel story where you read it like a comic. And as you read it, we can send you a change to it so that when you go back to the first page, suddenly it's different. And you didn't know it was going to be different because we programmed that in. So now the time travel story takes off by itself. You know, you're actually making people feel like they're lost in a time travel experience, and time is, you know, fluid and so on. That's the kind of stuff that we can do with digital interactive. And to bring it all full circle, I met Wizard Tim through his mum, but that's because I was chairing an advisory committee for the old governor of Georgia, not the current wanker. But he was a nice dude. This guy, Governor Deal, is actually a pretty decent dude. And it was on digital interactive. He heard me speak at a university and he was like, I want to know more about this. He was such a cool guy. And so we came in and I met his mum by helping to build out the tax credits in Georgia for that. So digital interactive is such a big part of my life. And I think that's where we're sort of looking to go with Book.io.
This is awesome. This is the kind of shit that makes me so excited that I've been able to now connect with Paul. Like, you can just hear the the talent and the experience that comes out of him from having been in this space for so long. And every time we talk, like, something new pops up. And I love this whole idea. And this is what we really want to explore as we continue to build out Wizard Tim too, is storytelling as a utility. Like, another example that we've been throwing around is the potential of having different story arcs based on, like, NFTs that you might be holding, right? Like, you could hold PFP NFTs that act as the protagonist or the hero of a story. And depending on which one you hold, the sort of events of the story unfold differently based on the personality type of the character that you're holding. Like, there's tons of different ways that you can program interactivity and, like, just different experiences into this space because of its digital nature. And so it's why we're so excited to just keep building and growing this and keep pushing forward. And just what makes me so optimistic about this sort of future of both Wizard Tim and just this whole community in general. And I get excited about it just talking about it like this. It's awesome.
So we do have a second guest, so I want to be respectful of their time also. This has been a great in-depth conversation, and I would love to have you guys back at some point here in the near future to kind of continue this for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
But I have one question, Paul, before, and I think Davis had his hand up. I don't know if he still has his question, but
I still do.
Okay, I'll get to you. But I have a burning question because I hear a coffee cup in the background, and I need to know what is in that coffee cup.
Is this question for me? Because if that question is for me, the answer is tea.
Oh my! Since I'm the anti-coffee hero, I appreciate that. However, the coffee cup over there might not.
Well, to be fair, I'm British, right? Like, we have certain quirks and things that we're terrified of, and obviously, so one of the things that we're legally obliged to do is to drink tea out of coffee cups. Apologies for that.
And you have to put 60 grams of sugar in it, correct?
Yeah, well, there's two schools of thought, right? Like, you either go fully no sugar, which is me, or you put, like, and we do it in sugar cubes, right? So you put, like, we always say, like, 1 lump or 2, and as a kid, my answer was 7, please. So yeah.
Yeah, I used to be super sugar crazed, addicted, but I have the tea without sugar in it now because I like to taste the flavor of the tea.
Well, like I said, I'm the greybeard, right? So, like, you get to my age, you know, in your 50s, and you're sort of like, oh shit, now I've got to look at things like, will I have a heart attack next week? You know, so you take away the sugar. You know, Davis, I know you had a question as well. Perhaps we could answer it before we run off and let the next guest on.
Yeah, so I play a lot of Japanese RPGs, and one of the main quirks of them is they have, like, say, 8 to 16 endings, and you can play the game over again from a different character's perspective. That's definitely something you could do with storytelling, or there are always big fights with manga and comic books about who gets together, who dies, who doesn't die, so you could have alternative versions of the story.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fantastic idea, right? It's one of the many ideas that we talk about, right? So I just want to quickly kind of answer that by pointing you guys back to the only great Simpsons video game, which was Simpsons Hit and Run, which I
Oh my
worked
God,
on.
it was amazing. Thanks for doing that. I
Thank you.
remember
Yeah,
that game.
it was cool, right? It was a good time. I've had a lucky career that I've been involved in some cool stuff, and they were great people, great developers. And one of the things about Simpsons Hit and Run that you think is happening is you think that you have control over where you go. But we don't actually do that. We give you the illusion of control. So in a sense, what you're doing is you're saying yes to the player or yes to audience. But programming wise, there were certain parameters we had to fit in. You can't do certain things. You can't just make an open world game in that environment. It was just too difficult. So if you think about it now, we can't go unlimited. You can't have the audience just choose their own ending to be whatever it is they want to do. I don't think the technology will ever be there, not for a long time. Maybe AIs will take over at some point. But what you can give people is the sort of illusion of participation. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It may sound negative, but I think it would be a very big positive. Once I'm finished with the first project that I'm doing with Book.io, which is called Curiosity, and it came about as if you guys are punks like me, then you'll support the project. It came about because I interacted with Disney and Disney tried to steal something. And I went, you know what, fuck you, I'm going to write this book. Right? So it's kind of like Museum of the Weird. If you look that up, they asked me for a take on Museum of the Weird. I had this project. They went, oh, that sounds good. Well, I have that. And I'm like, no, I'm going to write the novel before you steal it. So Curiosity is the first one I want to do. But the second one I want to do, I'm actually sort of started it, is a murder mystery set in ancient London, where I want to give the audience the opportunity to pick some of the parameters of what might be in the next chapters. Not what happens in the chapter, but here's five, community, here's five things. You can either have a war elephant in there, it snows really heavily. Like, give them story elements and say, you guys vote for which one you want. Because as a creator, I feel like I can control that. And so I feel like, giving things to the community and allowing the community to choose. And then finally, with Bitcoin Origins, if any of you were familiar with it, it hit my favorite thing in all the world, which is treasure hunts. And what we did with the community was we just treasure hunt after treasure hunt after treasure hunt. We sent them around the world on Google Earth and Google Maps. And people found items, and eventually they found where Alice in Wonderland was hidden, and she was inside an old painting called The Garden of Earthly Delights by Hieronymus Bosch. And the idea that we can do treasure hunts with our community and they can interact, and we can hide things in our art that are clues and things like that, all of that lives in the space. And we should all be collectively so excited, because the definition of story is not a narrative, it's moving people's emotions. And I think what you see in the positivity in, say, Cardano, in Wax that we saw, is that there's this community that want to work together and build together. And I think that can be done creatively. So that's my thing. And thank you so much, everybody, for allowing me to kind of come and introduce myself. I am new to Cardano. I'm learning as we go. But I'm not the gray beard that doesn't get it. I get it, right? I'm just...
We have a friend that comes here named Graybeard. So.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
And I'm also, my beard is definitely gray. I'm actually Hero Pool down below. So,
nice.
And I've been around crypto for a while, so my DMs are always open if you have any questions, just along with CookThyme and Jenny, and Lido Nation over there does a lot of educational stuff on Cardano. So if you ever, have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. We would gladly assist you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
That goes to everybody in the room, not just Paul either. So that's to everybody.
Lido, I'm doing a checkup. Are you okay?
Yep, thanks for coming. That was great. I was aping into much of it, and just like, I'll stop there. Great. Yeah, hope you come back, especially when you're closer to dropping, Paul. We'll love to do a show for when your drop is near.
Well, thank you.
Um,
And what I'm working on right now, as Tim said, it's like I want to do some stuff, man. I want to do some. What can I do? Can I do like covers for my work? I've worked obviously in comics, I've got access to a lot of art. I want to do covers that people ask me for. Like instead of just providing them and saying this is how it's collected, like what if you had some input into the way these covers worked? I love the idea of that interactivity, and I've loved it for many years. And I think it just goes back to Ninja Turtles, is that fans would kind of tell us what they wanted, and we go, that seems like a good idea. Let's do that. So thank you, I appreciate it, and I will always come back and ask questions. You'll probably get sick of me soon. So thank you, everybody.
Nah, we didn't get sick of Hotchkiss, and he barked for the first 6 months or something.
That's so true, Paul. We're gonna love you. Don't even think about it.
On that note, we will go ahead and transition over to our next guest. Before we do, CookThyme. What's that? What's that saying? There's a thing. I'm just
I think there's a mid-roll that's overdue. Absolutely. Well, welcome everyone. This is Cardano over coffee. We do spaces Monday through Friday from 2:30 p.m. UTC to 3:30 p.m. UTC for around 2 hours. We have some amazing, we call it family at this point, but we have amazing hosts and co-hosts that show up every day, working behind the scenes, bringing you some great projects to come on to interview and all that great stuff. Today we had Wizard Tim. We're about to hear from Ostora Dao. And if you're interested in any more information, we have a link tree in the Coffee Cup account. We have links to our YouTube channel that we have recently been putting out clips. Definitely check that out. Also, we have some coffee. We have our own coffee bean brand. Please go check it out. You can pay in ADA. It's like so revolutionary. I don't know. It's just crazy. And other than that, if you have ADA and you have it on this thing called an exchange, definitely think about getting it off that exchange. You can DM any of us, but no matter what, let's practice decentralization, build your own wallet, get that going. We're a huge community. We're here to support you. There's no dumb questions. So if you're onboarding all your friends and family this holiday, make sure you also show them how to make their own wallet. But without further ado, we'll get back into it.
We will get back into it. I'll do a quick like a minute. Project Catalyst Town Hall is today. If you're not sure what Project Catalyst is, I pinned 2 tweets to the top. One is from Daniel Rebar. That is the newsletter that goes out every Friday to stay in the know. In that specific one on top, there is a link to the town hall, so you can check it out. Project Catalyst is a way to get funding if you're building on Cardano, or if you're doing something that will help make Cardano more successful. Marketing, all sorts of things, education. So check it out. Come to the town hall, bring your questions. If you go to lightdonation.com and you search Catalyst, there's lots and lots of articles about what it is and how it works. And if you're someone new into Cardano looking to connect with looking for specific features or services or tooling, there's Built on Cardano, which you can check out, and then you can also check out the link, the first pinned tweet, the funded projects that came through Project Catalyst, and maybe you can reach out to the people who's building that stuff. Maybe that's
Ooh, I
exactly
have a
what you
question for
need.
you, Lido, before you
Yes.
move out of that. Because so if a proposal, I found this set of instructions. So if you are done with all your deliverables, I guess you have to go through this what is it, closeout? Is that what you call it?
Yes.
And then you have to make a video. Is that like a requirement, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if anybody feels like they're done with their project and wants to get the remainder of the payout, then you have to do this, correct? And does it how long
100.
does it take for it to get reviewed? Is it like a monthly thing? Do you have a deadline to submit those
There's
before
no
the next
deadline.
payout?
I will give them 2 weeks. Sometimes it depends on how busy they are. So as much time as possible. The payout goes out every second Monday. So do
The
it.
second Monday of every month. So
Yeah,
basically kind of time it so they get a couple weeks before the next payout. Okay.
at
Cool.
least, right? Yeah, just don't delay. Just do it when it's done, as soon as possible. If you want to get that funding, right? So yeah, great. Well,
Thank
my
you.
name is Darlington, your favorite code dreamer at Lido Nation, where we provide blockchain education in plain English, Kiswahili, and Espanol. And that's your Lido Minute.
Welcome
Next,
the new guest already, right?
well, yeah,
Woohoo.
we have Ostora up here. Let's get the emojis going. Woo woo. Welcome, welcome. GM, good afternoon. How are you?
Hello everyone. I'm doing very well. I think you all do. Wizard has something really good actually. I'm really excited to connect with them as well. Yeah, actually pretty happy and glad that I'm here on the Coffee over Cardano. That's my first like biggest official space. Actually, I've been into some spaces on Cardano with my account. But yeah, thank you.
Oh my gosh, you just gave me an idea. What would it look like if we actually pour coffee over Cardano? Like, like literally, what would that look like? Anyways, um, well, who are you? Why don't you give the room a brief introduction to who you are, and then just the short version of how you came into the Cardano space and what you did before Cardano.
Of course. So actually, as a persona, I'm the right. I started on this space like 2 years and a half now. I went full time, full degen. I dropped my Web2 job and went full in on crypto. Actually, after like something like one year and a half, jump into the NFT space, start working on some stuff like moderator, and jump into like being an advisor, consultant, and a lot of shit on the Solana blockchain. And at some point, me and my partner, the one that we've been working on, Tornado, we started the idea of working a project, and we called it Ostora, and it means like legend in Arabic. So to make it a little bit authentic. So this is actually 6 months ago we started Ostora on Solana. We had the rough mint, a slow mint of 1 month and a half. Kept executing, kept our head down, sold out, and yeah, actually we hit an all-time high of 6x, something like that. Still 3x from mint price, 7% listed. We've been running the project as a DAO at first, and turned to be a brand actually, since we kept rotating into what market needs. So going into our strengths, we lean into the business model of building our art studio, since everyone was amazed by our art on Solana at first. And yeah, actually, our main revenue is our art studio that bring revenue stream, and also like percentage go back to the holders. As we go, we launched also like Ostora League as a gaming tournament. Had six projects in it. Played for 4 weeks. Been successful. 500 USD of a pool prize. So yeah, the the concept was interesting, and as a brand, we saw that our utilities didn't need a blockchain to operate, and as a brand, it's like a good thing to expand into multiple chains, because why we're limiting ourselves into one chain if we can deliver value and ROI into multiple chains. So the first thing that we had the discussion with, we had a little debate between Polygon and Cardano. So we said, okay, let's start with Cardano and go with Polygon and eat later on. So actually, we came into Cardano something like a month now. I've been into multiple spaces, learning about Cardano, learning about the community, and it's been pretty successful until now. Dropped some sneak peeks. We did open also like the whitelist allocation for DAOs and groups. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Cool beans. Well, what has been like coming into Cardano so far? What have you learned about the community, Cardano? Um, I know if you're not in Cardano, you get a very different message
Yes.
about Cardano and how it works and all that stuff. And then once you come in, it can look a little different. Um, yeah, what's been your experience?
Yeah, actually, like for coming from Solana, we always see the little beef between Sol and Cardano, and it's pretty funny actually. It's like the state of NFTs, and you have the same beef between ETH and Sol, and it's all like that. But coming into Cardano, I went into the literally on the Twitter Space dashboard, say in ADA, went into some spaces, met some great people actually, and it's like I say people here are really genuine, and some little things people are really supportive. They listen to each other, support each other, especially on content creation and also personal branding on Twitter Spaces. Because I see a lot of Twitter Spaces going, and whenever like people finish that space, they support each other on to another space, and that aspect of things is really helpful. People are supportive to smaller ideas, to bigger ideas, and that's really something that I did like about Cardano.
So let's get into the project. What are you what are you planning to do on the Cardano blockchain or in the Cardano community?
Of course. So as we go, we already have our art studio, and we like the main utility that we have on Solana, besides education, is 8%. Whenever we get a client on our art studio, a percentage go back to the holders, and of course, the bigger percentage go back to the project as a revenue stream to keep operating as a profitable business model. But coming to Cardano, we already tested an idea on Solana, and it works. Is the gaming industry, the gaming tournament. And as we all know, the gaming industry is one of the biggest industries that could lean on the NFT space to bridge that gap. And I don't want to sound cliche, but it's actually the idea, because how we're looking at it, gamers are already interested on the Web2 side of it. Uh, and already, like, we have a lot of people from Web2, from communities that already play a lot of games that already exist, not building a game. Because we saw also, like, building a game demand a lot of time, a lot of money, and it could not, like, people could not enjoy it. And that's the main issue of it. But actually, to have a tournament with game that already exists and with streamers that already have an audience on the Web2 side, and I'm talking about streamers from Web2 that have no relation with the Web3. Because from like the tournament that we're working to achieve and why we're raising money directly is to hire those streamers from Web2 that already known on the Twitch platform, have have the games that already exist like Valorant, like what else? Rocket League, League of Legends, and those games that already people enjoy and play, and bridge with it communities. So with that being said, it's a tournament with 16 different projects that will be playing in, and I'm sure we have more than that because we will be playing the qualification to have only 16 teams that will play on the league. The league will go within 15 weeks. So each week you have, let's say, Ape Society as a project from Cardano will be playing each week for 15 weeks. In each week you play a different game. So actually, with that being said, it's gonna bridge communities between chains. So we will have projects from Solana and also Cardano playing against each other with streamers from the Web2 bridging audience. So you have 16 communities from Solana and Cardano, and you have streamers that.
Let me see if I'm following.
Yeah,
So the project or the thing that you're gonna be doing here with the Cardano crowd and other crowds is it's a gaming tournament. The people are playing, or is it like a fantasy thing?
Okay. So actually, like just to explain the aspect of things, and then we can actually get on what is the holder benefit from it, because like not every holder will be wanting to play. Of course, that's a sure thing.
Okay, but just the project itself is that the you're offering a tournament where people can register to play the actual game.
Yeah, actually, it's more than that. It's an entertainment platform and
Mm.
gaming tournaments that built to be a marketing platform for the Web2 and the Web3 industry. And that revenue stream is what go back to the holders as a percentage of the rev stream, also with the art studio. So from the
Right,
holder,
right, right. That makes sense. I'm still trying to just understand the actual thing,
yeah,
right?
like
So
the
it's a platform. Is it like a website that you
okay,
go to?
let me go on to the detail. So let's say we start a tournament this week. So we're gonna have 16 projects from Solana and Cardano. So those projects will have teams. Each team will have 4 people playing in it. And you just have to be in community. You don't have to be the top one project on your blockchain. You just have 4 people that wanted to register, and they will register to the league, of course. And you have 16 teams. So each week you're playing a different game. And those games, they already exist. We're not going to build a new game.
Right.
So
So
that's
correction. Let's just so from the top, I go to a website or I register. 16 teams register, right?
exactly.
Okay. And then you get the instructions to play the game each week.
Yeah, you will have the schedule. I don't know if you're
Mm-hmm.
familiar with the soccer league tournaments, like the Premier League or the.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
It's the same concept, but
Mm-hmm.
instead of playing just one game per week, you're playing different
Right,
games. So this week you're gonna play
right,
Rocket League. Next week you're gonna play Call of Duty, and each week you play a different game. With
right,
that with that being said, actually it's bridging communities between chains. So that's one, and it's enjoyable to watch because why
right.
we're raising actually the money and also like working on the aspect of onboarding and as I said earlier, bridging the gap between Web3 and Web2. We will be hiring streamer from Web2 that don't have a clue on Web3 actually, because from their standpoint of view, they will be streaming games and tournaments and looking at people playing against each other. It's like a tournament, and also like for the gamer standpoint, it's a user friendly thing to watch because he will
Right.
be watching his favorite streamer on a tournament of teams playing against each other. From like the names, he gonna be just looking at something like Ostora playing against Clay Nations. So it seems like just 2 teams playing against each other, and on a game that he's already familiar with, and on a streamer that he already familiar with. That's the idea.
That makes sense. What's up, Davis?
I really like this idea because not being in school, I have a lot of trouble finding people to play Call of Duty and Battlefield with and Pokemon just because time schedules vary, among other things. So being able to have a small tournament's really nice. Are there any prizes involved for winners? Did you think
Yes.
about anything like that?
Yes. So actually, like this gaming tournament is built to be a gaming tournament, but it's more a marketing platform. But yes, actually, like the pool prizes will be around 10,000 USD or 15,000 USD. So that will be the pool prizes to incentivize gamers from the Web2 and also like projects and the communities to participate in it. So to get back like on the gamer standpoint, and that's what's also important for us to onboard those people. The gamers will be watching their favorite streamer on a tournament. So whenever they want to participate, the number one requirement is to be inside a community to represent a project. So you don't have to buy an Asura, but you have to be buying a project on Solana or Cardano. So you should be on a NFT community, and that will be user friendly for them because like they can buy some NFT that costs $1. We don't care. It just have to be they should just represent a NFT project, and that will onboard them into a community and will be more user friendly on this case because after it they're just gonna play on some game they're already familiar with.
So you're sponsoring players essentially.
Actually, not exactly. It's more about having this platform and of course having this platform of the gaming tournaments and organizing everything about it to have like the audience of the Web2 watching and also like 16 communities watching as well and the Web3 because like you don't have to do anything to watch, you just have to go on Twitch and watch the stream. And to have like the audience, this is how it gets interesting and this is how the business model is profitable So with the viewer base, this is how we will be sponsoring our league with commercials from Web 2 and Web 3, since we have already our art studio and we can make commercial videos, and also like from the Web 2 standpoint, and bring in streamers that already have a big audience and have already worked with multiple sponsors from Web 2. This also gonna give us the credibility to work with companies from Web 2 and sponsor them into our platform, because you'll be having a big viewer base. So this is how we will be monetizing it and having a profitable business model to keep it rolling.
So now let's talk about the. Oh, go ahead, CookThyme.
Yeah, I just had a question on. So Twitch already, like the whole system is really like people are used to Twitch. They're used to emotes. They're used to, you know, that whole system. So are you creating a whole new platform that would hypothetically be the Web3 Twitch? Like in that sense, just because a lot of streamers are gonna have a hard time, especially if they're like, say, pro streamers. I don't know what level that you're trying to
Okay.
action.
No, we will be streaming on Twitch actually, but the platform that I'm talking about is not a platform that we're gonna build. The platform is the tournament itself. So with having a large audience on Twitch, it's gonna allow us to have commercials on the league, and that's a monetization of the thing actually.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Lido. You're gonna
Well, I was gonna go to the cost. So, how much are you hoping to raise to do this thing? What's
Yeah.
the product? What are you selling?
Of course. So actually, we're trying to raise between 200 and 400 grand to run the leagues, because each league costs around 60 to 70 to 80 grand for each league, and one league is 4 months of each week playing the games. So actually, we will be launching a 10K collection with around 20 to 40 bucks. It depends on the demand actually. And yeah, actually, if whatever we can raise, we can start the first league, and it depends on how much we will be raising and how much league we will be playing without any sponsors, because this is how we're gonna start the business model. To get back also on the holder benefits, so for the holder benefit, there is three benefits. So one, from what already exists on our background and already the proof of work that we already have, is our art studio. So whenever we get a project, like our art studio is a B2B thing. So if we get a client on Cardano, as we got already on Solana, and whenever we get clients, a percentage go back to the holders as a Gata pool. So it's a pool system to reward holders. So that's one. Two, whenever we get a sponsor on the league, to monetize the league, actually to have like their commercial or their marketing there, a percentage go back to the holders. The third thing is those communities and those teams outside of Ostora, they will be paying a small fee with our token. So actually, we will put our token before starting the league on an exchange with zero liquidity. So the demand on it will be like a little demand, but it still be. So actually, project from the outside, they should buy a little amount of our tokens to pay for the fees to register and to play each game. And that will inject liquidity to our tokenomics for our holders' taken. So for all holder standpoints, it's revenue from our art studio, from our marketing platform as the Ostora League, and also our tokenomics.
Wow, the token. That's new information for me. So what I'm wondering right now is looking at your Twitter, your Linktree. I don't see like a website or a paper. So one thing that a lot of people in Cardano likes to do is read a bunch of stuff like that explains everything, like a wiki. Do you have some of that website wiki paper of any kind that people can read, that explains all of this and lay out the tokenomics and everything?
Of course. Actually, about that, we're building the website that will be ready probably this week. and it will have the but also like from the whitelist. We don't want to do a normal whitelist allocation as we're going into. We will be adding a social aspect to the whitelist. So their website will be ready this week, and it will have everything that you're wondering about, so people can read about it, see the sneak peeks, see the proof of work of everything that we already did, and also submit their application for the whitelist. And yeah, I don't want to leak too much about the whitelist, but yeah, everything that you ask for will be definitely on our website.
And then where is the company register? Which was the jurisdiction?
Actually, from that side, we're on Morocco, actually. So we don't have taxes on crypto, and we're not registered yet on crypto because there is no legislation for it.
Wait. Do you have a company like in the real world or no?
No, actually, it's a Web3 business for now. Because as we're located in Morocco, there is no legislation about crypto actually. So there is no
Well, not just crypto though. I mean, don't you still need like a business registration, or maybe it works differently in Morocco? Maybe.
yeah, but actually I don't see it profitable for now, especially being a small business and leaning paying taxes for that. Actually, I don't see why we should lean into being a real company as soon as we're not a Web2 business actually.
Interesting. So who is we? How big is the team?
So actually, as now we're around I think 10 or 12 people. So it's my co-founder, our marketing team. There is a composite of something like 4 to 5 people. We have 4 artists, so we have 3 artists on the NFT side, our social media designer, we have our community manager, and our mods.
And is everybody based in Morocco?
Actually, it's just me and my co-founder live together after we minted out, and yeah, that's it.
And the rest of the team are this what are they? Are they spread out around the world? Or are they in Morocco too? Like the artists, the NFT artists, the
Yeah,
marketing, where are
the
those people?
the artist actually is in Morocco. We met several times, and we will be moving to live with each other's later on. But otherwise, the team is not docs. Not we will not be doxing as
That's fine. That's fine. Just country, right? Or I'm just trying to figure out, is the whole team in Morocco or is it spread out across the
main team.
the
Yes,
globe?
yeah,
Okay.
the main team. Yeah, we're based in Morocco. It's in North Africa,
Where did
and
Jenny go?
yes,
Oh,
we
okay.
we started here, and we still run it actually. Yeah.
And then how many developers do you have?
So from the Solana side, we have 1 developer. From the Cardano side, we will be having a developer as we go. Because on the organization of the league, we don't need any development to start the league. Because the first league will start with just the organization stuff on it. People will pay to send they will send the fee on a different wallet. Because we don't want to keep people waiting. Because as we go with the first league that's gonna remain for 4 months, we will have a dev on the background working on the platform.
But you haven't secured a dev on Cardano yet.
No, not yet.
Okay. Have you gotten a quote of how much that might cost and things like that?
Yeah, actually, we connected with the Epoch and multiple also White Glove and Launchpad to have a cost about how the mint will cost, and also like to connected with multiple big people on the space to know how much it costs to have a good dev actually, and yeah.
Great. And then one last question, and then we'll go to the audience. How did the Magic Eden royalty situation affect your project on
Actually,
Solana?
that's a great question because getting back on how we started Minton, we were nobody. No one knows about us. We didn't have a network, and that put us on the position of we're not minting. We're not minting well because like we minted 150 on the first day 6 months ago, and this is when we were not making money. The business was not going well, and this is when we built our business model on something around other than royalties. This is when we started leaning into the business model of our art studio. So actually, and that was like 4 months before royalties was off. So whenever like royalty was off, we didn't give a actually we didn't bother ourselves because we already have a business model. We already have our art studio that was bringing revenue stream.
Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I lied. One more question.
Yeah.
Have you spoken to a lawyer?
On what subject exactly?
Any subject.
No.
Have you spoken to a lawyer? Do you have a lawyer retainer, anything along those lines?
No, not yet.
Okay. BlockJock. Sorry, Pyro. You saw
Yep.
co-host.
So I was
You go
curious
next.
because you said you're going to be a Web3 business, but I don't think that excuses you from, unless in your country there are no taxes. But how are you paying people? As far as, are you paying them out of an account? Or are you giving your own token? Or are you giving them NFT? I mean, how are you paying people right now? I'm curious.
Yeah, actually, how we're paying people on this team is from our art studio inquiries. So whenever we get a client, there is a percentage of of everything go back. So, for example, we get a client, 50% go back to the artist as crypto. So if we get paid on Sol, we pay everyone on Sol. If we get paid on USDC, we pay everyone on USDC.
Okay, so in the end, though, I mean, by paying people, are you 1099ing them? You know what I mean? Like, are they individual contractors? Are they employees? Do they have are they getting token? Are they vested interest? As far as the core group is what I'm talking about. Do they have a vested interest in the business? Is there a vesting schedule? I mean, have you thought about any of that stuff?
Actually, we're getting into working with whatever actually we need. So starting with a business like this, we have like a young team that works with us that started with us from the beginning as our artists and multiple talent that we already have, and we don't have any contract actually. We just work to deliver what like the holder need and to execute on the ideas that we're planning on executing. So we don't think much about it right now. So as we get into a business, this is when this is when we can go into contracting people.
Right. So last question. Do you have a multi-sig for the control of the treasury, or is it in one? Is there one single signer, or how do you have that set up?
Yeah, actually, for the multisig, we already have a multisig wallet with me, my co-founder, and the main artist, as those are the three main founders of the project.
Okay, and with that multi-sig, is that so then in essence 2 out of 3, or does it require all 3 signatures in order to sign anything out of that wallet as far as the treasury?
Yeah, it's 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Okay. All right. Thanks, man. That's all I have.
Pyro, what's up?
All right. Yeah, I used to be a caster for Clan that had tournaments. We had one every Sunday, and basically, what we'll start with. Have you done tournaments before? If so, yeah. No, let's just start there. Have you done tournaments before? And were they on Twitch? How big was the community? What was the concurrent viewership?
Okay, so actually, we started this business model as something that we just wanted to enjoy at first, and we started on Solana with 6 projects involved, and we had like a viewer average of just 50 people. So that was like from those communities that was participating. The casters was just me and some people that already worked with us that was just interested in doing that. And yeah, went into that run for 4 weeks with a pool price just for 500 USD. So that was like a cool idea to execute, and this is when we saw the potential of scaling that business model on a bigger scale.
All right. I don't know how young you guys are, and I love the dream, and you guys sound really awesome, and yeah, at least you sound very passionate. Honestly, maybe want to change the brand a little bit to sound less tightened up. You know what I'm saying? You're coming in here with a kind of like a language of like, oh, this is a solid business. You're going to get sponsorships. You are the sponsorships. You're going to sell the mints. And that's great. You know, like I again, like I was part of a clan that didn't have this 1099 or lawyers, but we did have a registered website, and we had thousands of players that played all the time, or on cross platforms, and it was fun, and it grew to more than just it felt kind of like a family. That's how clans and communities and games kind of end up going.
Or a cult.
Or a cult. No, it's really interesting. It was really fun. Yeah, we even had community developers that created overlays and helped with the OBS stuff, and really just created a community. But we weren't asking for any money. I recruited top players for that clan, and got sponsors on my own. But we weren't creating we were creating more of a community rather than actually creating this tight-knit business plan, and it ringed better, at least for me. And yes, it was Web 2 and this is Web 3 and this is what this is about, but it's all about how you market the brand, because then you're getting people like Lido Nation asking if you have a lawyer on retainer, and that's okay. Like, you don't need one. And if it's just a community, like it paints a different paint, so.
He actually asked if you had spoken to an attorney, and I think it was not to have him on retainer, but to have seek for guidance, because there's a lot of elements that have been laid out here. That sounds to me like you might want to might want to get that guidance. And I think that it goes back to what Pyrus said originally. I don't know how old you are, but this is this sounds very complex, and you might want to seek for some guidance. We're definitely able to give you our opinion from our perspective, and but you need to get canceled, in my opinion, just so you can make sure that you can accomplish all these things and not make a mess out of it with all your enthusiasm. You try to grow so fast and add all these elements to things, and you come from Solana, you're moving to Cardano. You said that you have one developer in Solana, you have no developers here in Cardano, so you're navigating these waters, right? So, I mean, maybe just kind of try to like go back to basics and leave all the promises to the side for now is my recommendation, because you do have the passion, and you seem, and knowing where we stand right now, you definitely have time. You don't have to put it all here at once, right? And you might realize in 6 months that, oh, I'm so glad we didn't take this part too seriously, because now it allows for you to evolve, because the space is evolving, and Solana and Cardano are very different. And you might find different cultures that might resonate better with you, and leave a little bit of the money, that side, as Pyro was mentioning, to the side, and kind of focus on why you're here for. Why are you doing this for? What are you seeking in your vision in the future? What would you like to see? And take this opportunity as the blank canvas that you have here right now, to really build that, as opposed to having a mindset of how it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, I see actually, and I want to actually know what is the concern exactly from the attorney side, because as talking about revenue shares, especially here in Morocco, is we're based in, it's not a security if you're demanding about that, but actually more about what is about these tournaments. It's about bridging communities between both chains, and also bridging the community between the blockchain and also the web 2, because as we are in the market right now, we're on the bad market, as just the liquidity go from chain to other chains, and we don't have liquidity going from the web 2 side, and that's the bigger issue actually. And this is what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to achieve to get showcasing what the web 3 can achieve from on the web 2 side, because from sponsoring this, we can also open the gates for projects and like games that build on the Web3 to be played on our league and being sold from a Web2 audience, and that will like open a lot of scalability to the business model.
Yeah, but you're saying
So
your purpose is for tangible profit. That's kind of where I'm going. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
think
talking about like the side of thing of sponsoring, we already have people sponsoring just Twitter Spaces on Solana, and they don't have an attorney for that. So I see it from getting sponsored from the Web3. It's a simple thing that you can already have.
I agree
What's
with
up, Dave? Oh, go ahead, CookThyme.
I was going to say, I agree that we need to get more Web 2 into Web 3, especially when it comes to gaming. There's a huge opportunity there. But the only thing is, you haven't really talked about like what are your connections to the current gamers? Like, what is your onboarding process? Of course, like everyone in a perfect world, we all want the Web 2 world to merge into Web3 and create these platforms and communities and ecosystems to sustain that. And sure, ideally there's that business model, but like what are like what connections do you have to gamers? Like actual like gamers that get paid on a daily basis, because there's a lot of people out there, they can't just play in a tournament and win that grand prize. Like there's people that are signed to teams and they get paid like a job, like that is their job essentially. So it just depends on like the type of gamers you're trying to cater to, and also focusing heavily on like what's that onboarding process. Like, are you going to jump on like Twitch? Do you know a lot of gamers IRL? Can you talk to them and then get them to talk about it in their streams, things like that?
Okay, so actually, especially with gamers, I think I didn't explain that exactly, but to get back on it, we're talking about getting communities to play against each other. So on communities, we're not talking about gamers. We're just talking about community members that want to participate in a tournament to have a cross-chain tournament between projects. So that's from just one side. From the other side, to have like streamers coming from and giving like a Web3 that already have a Web2 audience that already known, it's just about paying them the amount that they want. It's just that. And you can get those streamers to stream for you and to have like because this is their job actually. They can cost for you if you pay them. It's just that.
Go ahead, David.
So, actually, what I want to do is go into banter and start with this topic we're talking about right now with Web3, Web2, being a lawyer and all that stuff. Just because we are out of the time slot that we have for this guest. So, Astora, why don't you go ahead and give us close out, dates, anything that you want us to know, and when is the website launching, all of that stuff, and then you can start the banter of Davis. You can still ask your question, but then it doesn't have to be about a story. We can go into just banter time for the last 15 minutes or so here. So Astora, take it away. Close us out.
Yeah, of course, of course. Thank you for the opportunity, actually. And just to want to point out that we're just expanding. We're not moving to Cardano. And yeah, actually, we will drop the website this week. The whitelist allocation for the DAO and projects is already open. Next week, we will open the whitelist allocation for individual on our website. So make sure you don't miss that. Check out our art, actually. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Great, thank you. Coming to you, Davis. What's up?
This is more of a group question. How do we get rid of some of the negative sentiment around NFTs and say NFTs and mining are stealing all of the graphics cards and they're exorbitantly expensive, things like that? I'm not really sure how you change that, at least in the PC gaming community.
The supply chain gets fixed, and time just heals all wounds.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
like,
mean, there's the big perception that NFTs use a lot of power and destroy the environment. We know that's not the case with Cardano, though, but we've seen so much negative press about that.
Oh, well, I mean, I think that's just blockchain in general and the power thing, right? And now that Ethereum is not using it, we'll see if that rhetoric changes, because there's there's lots of press that Bitcoin uses too much energy, but there's also lots of press that use of energy is justified, that is worth it.
Definitely, and banks altogether use a lot more power than Bitcoin with their physical locations and branches and among other things.
You have a point, because my nephew, he was so against NFTs a couple of years ago, and he used to tell me things like that. And I'm like, dude, you're a kid. You should be excited about this stuff. I mean, gaming. Do you even realize what this is going to mean to you? He wastes so much money in buying skins and all this stupid stuff that he doesn't really own. And I'm trying to tell him, like, dude, this is like the future for you. And they brainwash him about this whole everything that's related to this. It's bad for the environment. So this generation is terrified of climate change, and everything that you associate with them with climate change, they're going to reject. But we just came out of Thanksgiving dinner, and out of nowhere, my sister-in-law, which is part of the reason why he was hating on crypto in the first place, she made a big effort to publicly in the table just kind of change her perspective and let people know that she's shifted her mind and she's been trying to learn about this, and she's excited about it. And my nephew's like, okay, now he's looked like I can accept it now. So I was talking to him about NFTs after that dinner, and I could tell he's completely open now to understanding it, which he wasn't before because of this whole climate change rhetoric. So I do think you bring up a really good point. And if you do have access to teens or preteens or like nephews or nieces or your own kids, it is important to talk about it. Because if you unlink that, and you say, you don't even have to go into like, oh, that's because these other ones are bad and we're good. It's just about, people are afraid of new things, and it's happened before, but I'll be more than happy to teach you why this is not the case and why I chose Cardano and blah 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 blah, and it does work.
It's interesting because the reason why we have NFTs is really because Vitalik Buterin lost some upgrades for his character in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I was telling my nephew, I was like,
yeah.
imagine being in your Discord and exchanging these things, just like, and then he's like, wow, no way. I was like, yeah, imagine if you're like, oh, dude, I don't want this. I have 2 of these guns here. I wish I had this. It's like, oh, you want to trade real quick? You can do it straight from Discord, man. And it's like, what? And it's like,
Definitely, and
yeah. And then
being
that's
able
how
to connect.
he's like, that would be so freaking cool. I was like, exactly, right?
Yeah,
So
and being able to connect the game to the blockchain and any assets you purchase, you can still use them after the private servers have sunsetted.
yeah, then we're gonna
it's
move
really
into that.
exciting.
Exactly.
As a gamer and also as a kid once, I'm not worried about really the grand scheme question of like, miners are stealing graphics cards. The problem is it's more expensive, and hardware is more expensive everywhere. But the supply chain always heals itself in the end, and consumers always get the products that they need. And as a kid, there's been so many things that I've said as a kid that I didn't quite fully understand. But also stuff that I got, like I really got. And what I know is how I feel is kids talk to each other. They communicate, they dream, they promise themselves things in the future as far as careers and interests. So blockchain and blockchain technology and the supply chain and worrying about kind of like what the media says, and what the reality is on the floor for what like kids want is, it's usually, in a sense, it's positive outcome for the markets and positive sentiment for the future. I have kids that I work with. I'm a behavioral therapist on my day-to-day, and they are playing Roblox constantly, and they're paying 10.99, all this, and I don't like the necessarily fleecing of the market, But for people in their late teens and early 20s, and even adults, have seen the gaming industry target mobile and target the word whale. Whale was a marketing term way before it was a crypto term, marketing term for mobile, way before it was a crypto term. And it created this atmosphere of DLC and games, and never actually having enough development done, and just selling bits and pieces of it. And for the most part, I feel like the average gamer that doesn't want blockchain to touch their game mostly just doesn't want another thing to buy.
Yeah,
Or
we're afraid of microtransactions. Like even playing Street Fighter 5, it's like, hey, to get this character, I can either do 2,000 matches or pay $2, and I really don't want to pay the $2.
right. And I don't either, but somehow I'll pay $20 for an NFT and feel fine about it. No, I'm just kidding. But not really. But at the same time, it's like, if you see that, and you see these Web 2 actors moving into Web 3, and they have a huge overhead, it only makes sense that there's going to be this this adversity, or this maliciousness, as least that it feels for NFTs. But on the flip side, right, having that that centralized NFT, or that NFT from League of Legends, or even a skin on World of Warcraft that has an open market that you can sell, that you don't need to keep on your character. That was the whole bind on pickup comment that Vitalik Buterin said. Like, he's like, oh, I lost my character, and then he started talking about bind on pickup and bind on equipped, etc. And those are all cool ideas for smart contracts as well. And so, like, yeah, that logic goes straight to blockchain, and video games as well, being Web 2, Web 3. And at the end of the day, it's just web development, and it's a tool for the products to kind of move through. So I'm not that's my rant on on why at the end of the day I'm not worried about this mining problem. Because I even got myself a 3060 Ti when the 3000 series for Nvidia came out, and that whole stigma of miners are buying all these GPUs. A lot of the GPU companies like Nvidia and AMD were actually front running the retail market. So it was for the miners, but they were selling to large companies that were buying, and so these are big companies already, and so that the supply chain, or at least the people who were buying that, really were pissed off. And if you burn your root, you're probably gonna die. And so at the end of the day, these supply chains will heal. I
Did
know
you
we
read
have a
that in
bull
a
market.
Chinese in a fortune cookie? If you burn your roots, what did you say just now?
I said, if you burn your roots, you'll probably die.
I think
Yes,
I
sir.
think he did read that in a fortune. I read it the other day in a fortune cookie. That's funny. We got it at the same time. That's so weird.
Oh man. Well, so before we close out the show here, I do want to touch a little bit on this Web 2, Web 3 thing, because I think, especially in Project Catalyst, right, we've run into this, right, where if you're making money through Project Catalyst, because it doesn't have a real world existence, you're not able to, say, use that income to finance a house, because it's not a real income. Like, nobody knows about it. You can't prove that you have it, right? And I know,
Are you sure?
well, when it comes to buying a house, the bank won't take it, right? The bank can't prove that you can pay back, or you can make your payments or whatever, right? So if you have a Web 3 company that you're expecting to be paying people any significant amount of money, um, I think that needs to be anchored into the real world, where you can actually give them something that say, "Hey, I made this much money." Yes, I know that comes with taxes, and maybe people don't want to do that. But again, for people, like, People need to buy homes and take loans and stuff and need to prove their income. How else do they do it if you're not giving them something to say, hey, they made this much money?
Don't you remember a little while back? I mean, you could buy homes in somewhere. I can't remember where it was. You could buy homes with ADA, I do believe. So that
Okay,
might have been a good
that
investment back
gimmick,
then.
BlockJock, you got to read the details. Whenever the press says anything, don't believe it. Did they really buy it in ADA? What fee did they pay? What
Wait,
intermediary did it go to?
are you
Like, can
saying the
anybody
cable
do
news
that?
networks aren't
I guess we're all
that's not
independent
true
contractors for now.
100%? No.
Yeah, but even if you're independent contractors, right, in the US, you get a 1099, you can give that to a banker to prove your income,
Yeah, I guess
right?
we're more like I was explaining this the other day precisely. Yes, a couple days ago. I guess I look at it more like like service rendered, right? Like I pay the guy that comes to do the lawn. If he comes and cuts mows the grass and does the trees, and he knocks on my door and I give him money, right? I don't.
Yeah, then it's not about you though, right? So that guy, right? That guy, if he wants that money to have, it's like I'm a contractor. I provide services and I register my business, right? And I report those income so that I can be able to go to a bank and say, hey, I've made this much money, right? So that guy is on him to like register an LLC or whatever, right? But I'm more talking about if that guy is like paying other people to actually do the lawn mowing, he probably wants to issue those kids whatever um a 1099 so they can prove that they have income, right? So it's not about the customer, it's about when you're contracting stuff out. One really good example of why I'm thinking about it right in this moment is our guest that we just had, right? If you're paying some streamers to stream the tournament and you're paying them, what did he say, 10,000 or something? If I'm a streamer, I want that 10,000 to count as an income, right? So I hope like you're giving me, so at least you're a business that I can say, oh, I provide service.
Yeah, but aren't we like too early to have like? I mean, to some degree. I mean, I understand 100%. I just feel like if you get involved in businesses like this right now, you kind of know that there's going to be a time like this where it's going to be a little weird because
I
it's
don't
a
think it's
response. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's weird because wrapping things in LLCs and structuring businesses properly prevents you from getting hit with retaliation from your government in the future, where it's like, hey, you were selling unregistered securities, you were paying people a ton of money, it wasn't being reported, and then all of a sudden you're at fault and you don't really have any official records to back yourself up.
I mean, if we're talking about the previous guests and things like, I wasn't like thinking like that
I mean,
specifically. I
let's
was
even go
thinking
to
more
Project
like,
Catalyst, Jenny. Project Catalyst.
yeah, but
Project Catalyst has paid
we
out
also have,
12
yeah,
million
but Project
dollars.
Catalyst is Project Catalyst, right? We also have bounties, which we don't go by that like that. Why? Because there's also other things that we want to do to help this ecosystem kind of move, but nobody wants to hire anybody. So we have like the little bounties, right, where people can just like collect. I did collect. And this is kind of like in a way what we're building this shit, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you do a random bounty, that's different, right? But if you're paying someone significant amount of money, where even if they're treating it as a part-time job, right? And that money isn't accounted in the real world, they can take loans based on that work.
I
So
mean,
it,
but
so
what are we
so
trying to
it,
do? Are we trying to move like in a direction where we ourselves can prove that we don't need to have some of these things in place because now people can take responsibility on their own to pay their share, and there's a way
Jenny,
to like
yes,
check?
absolutely. Because everything Lido talks
I
about
mean,
is that it's showing proof that you're of income in order to get a loan. But if you don't need to show
I
proof of
don't want to
income to
do
get a
that
loan,
shit
right?
anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Me neither.
right,
And as
right,
soon as
right.
Lido talking,
So
I'm like, I
so
want
so
out of
so
that
here's the
box.
thing
You
though,
know?
right? It's obviously just having that option doesn't mean you have to do it. But and Project Catalyst is actually a very good example because we've ran it for a year now and people has left because of that, right? And it depends on the country you're living in too, right? Like if you can prove you have income, some places you can't even get a rent. You can't even get a house unless you prove you have an income,
Hey,
right?
Right. That's like that here in California for sure,
I
and
popped in
U.S.
here. I popped in here because I'm going through that same thing, Lido. You know, I got funded in Fund 8 for $100,000. I paid my team to build a proof of concept, and in order to get to the next stage where I'm at now to receive additional funding, I didn't do a good job of putting books together, you know, so that, and now I need that. I need an income statement, balance sheet. You know, I need to basically report that I paid my team, but I paid them in crypto. So it's a bunch. It's a topic that I'm slogging through right now to make sure that our books are in order so that we can receive money. It might complicate things that I am in the U.S. So it's probably a higher level of due diligence on my part. But yeah, I'm literally going through it right now.
And I know the next guest, the last guest was not a great example because they're like far on the spectrum. But I feel like that is something we need to be thinking about. Just as Web3, it's not just about what the laws is about you having a company, but if you want people to sort of join your idea and join your company, providing safety for them in that real world, you just got to think about that too. It's not just about your company or your project or your tournament. If you're expecting people to have significant income from your offering as contractors or I don't know, partners or employees, um, I feel like is worth thinking about what that actually means, right? How are you taking care of your people? Um, is it just giving them money, or is it being able to help with the legal real world stuff too, right? And maybe, you were saying maybe with Web3, everything is decentralized and none of that matters. But even with the Web3 stuff, right? Imagine the liquid finance, they want to be able to provide loans based on your wallet, right? Um, but that still has to show in your wallet in a token that they understand, right? So, if you are starting a company and hiring people and people needed to be able to prove that they're making this income, that means you got to think about what token does liquid finance understand as far as income goes, right? So when the person connects that wallet to the liquid finance protocol, it can show that, oh yeah, this person made, this much equivalent of ADA last year or last quarter or whatever, if we're trying to keep it all decentralized in Web3.
That's why a lot
But
of people have to keep their job on the side while they're doing this crypto thing, because it's like, you still you can't really prove those things with regular finance. So we are building this stuff. It's
Uh,
wild to think about it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the mistakes that some of these companies have made that were unfair. I think unfairly calling rugs like Flicto and like Orbis and or Cardano, whatever. I think it's just inexperience on the part of the founder. Right? There's a lot of this legal shit. There's all this stuff that you need to do, and it's more inexperience on the part of people who really just wanted to build something cool. I think, and just got bogged down with the red tape that is also as important.
But those things, do you see, that's the thing. Like, a lot of those things should be taken under consideration when you start in some journeys and make some promises. So, a lot of times you don't realize yourself pretty much out there, and people buy that, and then it's like, well, I'm just experimenting in it, and then that's where the whole, like, are you a rug or are you not a rug? And I always said, I think the rug is a feeling. Some people go away and disappear, and I don't feel rug because I have certain connection to where I put my money or the things that I do. But when you have expectations, and the expectations sometimes come from somebody telling you something in a way that makes you feel like you trust those things as opposed to verifying them, then you feel wrong too. I don't know. It's crazy. Sometimes I do see that there are projects out there like this is it, and we got all under control. And when people ask these questions, there are always some answers that keep it like, oh, we of course we're taking care of that, and then it's like they weren't taking care of it. So of course, if we weren't taking care of it, like no offense sessions, but you're talking about like all this paying people, and then you're going through all this stress. That should have been like you could have just had a conversation with somebody and paid them a little bit and learn how to. You're learning how to do these things, right? Oh, I'm getting this people I got to pay, and I got to keep a balance sheet and my books. That's like part of like business, and people don't like it when you're playing with their money, right? To their using their money to experiment, right? People want to give you your money because you're already shown that you're taking care of all that, and you speak from that perspective. So I'm one that thinks like everybody's here experimenting, so I don't buy any of it. I just, if I like you and I want to give you a chance, then I'll put some money in there. That's the way I see crypto. Otherwise, I'll be feeling rugged all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely understand like that bookkeeping, all that stuff. That's business 101. Um, I'm more I'm more wacky creator than serious business operator, right? But fortunately for me, it's an issue that we saw early. I mean, it's only been about 4 months now, so it's easy to go back, put those expenses on the books, and then moving forward, have a healthy business hygiene. So it's a learning lesson for me, but it's one that others might see a little later on in their journey when it's a little later and it's a little harder to fix that up. So that's why I'm up on stage communicating from my own experiences, the importance of good business hygiene.
The importance of good business hygiene. Great. I love that. Thanks for adding that. And honestly, part of this stuff too is being forward thinking, right? Even as an individual, you don't know what's going to happen in 2 weeks, right? You might be thinking, "Oh, I'm never going to need a loan," and then shit goes down. You have your perfect storm, and then suddenly you do need a loan, um, and nobody will touch you. So just protect yourself. Web3 is great. Um, if you're a single person, young, let your what is it? Let your freak flag fly or something. But as you get older and as you sort of hitch other people to yourself, um, yeah, you can do both. You can do Web3 and also protect yourself and be safe and stuff and have the good hygiene. On that note, I have a little break and then another space to go to with the pool party. Wallet Wednesdays. I didn't know Wallet Wednesday was a thing.
Oh, Wallet Wednesday they're awesome, dude. I love
Yeah,
them.
I'm on there
They're great
today along
people
with
for
Hero
sure.
actually, and
You're there
Honesty. Yeah,
today?
yeah. And Small will be there. Yeah, it's a pool party. A
What?
bunch
It's
of
a
pools will
pool
be there.
party? No way. You
Um,
guys need to go. Wallet Wednesdays is it's great. I mean, those two are generally good people. So check it out. 100, like
yeah,
Cooked
you
will
guys
say.
check it out. A bunch of pools will be there talking as the
So
guests.
no
Oh.
no town hall yet. When are we getting
Town
back
hall
to
is
town hall?
today at noon. Town
Yeah.
hall is in 15. Is in at
So we're
15, but an
skipping
hour
town
and
hall to go to Wallet
no,
Wednesday.
no, no,
Sounds good
no.
to me.
Town hall is in an hour and 15 minutes.
I thought,
Um,
Alice, that it was at 1. They changed it to noon.
Actually, great question. It might be because it is in UTC time. Wait,
So when is
what's at
Wallet
one?
Wednesday? What time is Wallet Wednesday starting?
Um, it's starting at 1 for me, I think.
And what
I
time
have
is
to
it for
double
you right
check.
now? 10:45?
I don't know. I'm gonna go check. Whatever the normal time is for Wallet
1
Wednesday.
1 EST.
Somebody talk to me in EST, please.
I'm the least person to talk about Wallet
I want to
Wednesday,
go
okay?
support my pools, man. Like, what
Here,
time
here.
do we need to
Well, didn't
be
I
there?
just
What is it?
retweet something?
I'll
I
pin
Okay,
just
let me
retweeted.
just check. Okay,
Let me see.
hold on.
I'll pin it to the top, and that way
Don't rug
you
yet.
can.
Hold on.
I just
Oh man, I'm the
No,
worst.
I don't see it. I see. Hold on. Maybe it's me. I don't see
Oh,
Wait
it.
a second. Elon's buffering.
okay. I just pinned it to the top. Okay. Wallet Wednesday
Well, I pinned it
is
to the top.
okay. It's in 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Okay, I'm sharing this. Share everybody,
Oh man,
please. This is cool. Okay,
sheesh.
so we're gonna have, okay. You wanna scroll, summon, hero, Lido, Husky, Dreams. This is pretty cool. Okay,
Oh,
nice. Check it out
check it out. And then town hall is also happening.
at the same
Oh,
time. So
I just
it's okay.
realized that. So I guess I'm gonna have to be in both places. Well, actually, this is better because that means I get to go to the after town hall where I actually have to talk. Because the first hour is just getting information. And then the second hour is when the breakout rooms happen. So this works great. I will see you guys at Wallet Wednesday if you are going. Um, I won't be here tomorrow. I have Thursdays off, but I'm sure it will be just as great. Um, many of our usual hosts will be there: Hero, Epoch, BlockJock, CookThyme, Jenny Brito. Thanks for coming to the show and hanging with the Wednesday crew. See you tomorrow.
See ya.